Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my May reading wrap-up. In May, I managed to read only totally 10 books, of which 7 are physical books and the rest 3 are audiobooks. I had my audiobook subscription running for the last 10 days of the month alone, so I did not read as many audiobooks as I usually do. And also, May was a really slow, long, lazy, boring month for me. Of all the books that I've read, there are at least 4 books from this list itself which are going to be favorites for this quarter of the year. So without any further ado, let's get into the video right away. And also, if I have any dedicated reviews for the books in this video, all of them will be linked down the description. Starting with the physical books, the first book which I finished in May is The Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. This is the first book in the Shopaholic series. I consider this like a contemporary book also, which is a chick lit. Chick lit was a very famous genre of books in the early 2000s, but now I don't think it is that much famous. But contemporary as a whole can encompass this book if you ask me. And this is about this girl named Rebecca Bloomhood in her early 20s, and she's a journalist. She is a broke journalist, to be more perfect. The thing about Rebecca is that she loves shopping and she continuously buys a lot of stuff and hoards stuff, to be simple, and she just simply likes spending money on things. But she's not rich, so obviously she's having a credit card and she has a lot of credit card debt to be paid off. I should also say that this character, main character in this book, is very stupid, and the stupidity that she has makes the book a lot more hilarious at multiple points. If you're a person who's above 13 years or 14 years in age, I think you can definitely read this because it doesn't have anything explicit at all or anything mature. It's just a stupid tale about the stupid girl, which is very funny. This was such a book for me, and I rated this one 4 stars. The next book is definitely one of the best books that I've read so far this year, and it is Lone Wolf by Jodi Picoult. I already have a dedicated review for this book out in the channel. It is linked down the description. Please do go and check it out because I think this is one of those books which is a hidden gem, and I do think many more people need to read this. It's a literary fiction / thriller. It deals with the story of a family in which the father and the daughter, Luke and Kara, they are on this drive back home, and what happens is, due to an accident, both of them are injured. The daughter suffers a very severe fracture on her shoulder and the father goes to coma. This is also kind of a broken family. That is, the mother and father are divorced, so Kara is living along with her father because she has preferred to live with him. Her mother is already married and she's having her own family already, and her brother Edward, he went out of home to Thailand and he's working as an English professor there. Because of this accident, the family is brought back together, and there is only one option left, which is to pull the plug and kill the father because there is no other way in order to bring him back to his normal position. So this decision actually rests in the hand of the 2 children, Kara and Edward, and both of them have different decisions, and those clashes and the reasons behind their decisions, all of them make this book a really very greatly interesting one. Please do go and check my review of this because I've talked really detailed about this book, and I'm definitely sure that I'll be reading more books by this author, and obviously I rated this one 5 stars. The next one which I finished is a play, and it is Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. Now this is a comedy play rather than anything. I'll just tell you the premise of the book, which itself is very hilarious if you ask me. We have a ship that is wrecked into an island called Illyria, and in this ship there is this main character named Viola along with her twin brother, and during this shipwreck her brother goes missing and she believes that he is already dead, and in order to make a living in that island she disguises herself as a male named Cesario, and she goes and joins the work of this duke called Orsino. Since the duke is a really rich and handsome man, she falls for him, but she is in the disguise of a male, and this duke guy Orsino, he has this eye for this countess named Olivia, but Olivia on the other hand has her eye on the male disguise of this female named Viola. Okay, so it's basically just a hilarious love triangle in which we have a male, a female, and a female dressed as a male, and the female dressed as a male has a crush on the male, and the other female has a crush on the female disguised as the male. So it's just a hilarious story to read about. But since the language of the book is in the format of a play, I was not able to understand everything while I read it fastly. I had to read it slowly, and that slowness did break the humor during certain instances, so I was not able to enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Yet I rated this one 3 stars. The next one is a very famous Indian book, and that's one of the main reasons why I picked it up last month, and it is The Boy Who Loved by Durjoy Datta. This was definitely a big surprise for me because I ended up loving this book. Okay, I went in with different expectations than what the book delivered actually, but I was very satisfied from what I got out of the book. Many people say that this is a romance. Okay, it is definitely a romance, but the romance is not the center focus of the book at all. It's overall just a character study of this main character named Raghu. Okay, it is a perfect Indian YA book if you ask me. I'm sure everyone has to read this. Okay, I'm sure if you read this, you'll understand how good the book is and how well the author has written this character and the setup as a whole. I'll not say that the plot or anything is so different from anything that I've read or anything, but the way in which the author has handled all these characters, especially the main character, it was astonishing. Okay, I was not ready for this and I was so glad that I read this at last. But there's one thing which I want to tell you guys. Please do read this book, but don't read it during this time, because everyone is at least a little bit depressed or anxious for sure because of the pandemic going on. Once everything is back to normal and we have the bright shiny world back to us, do go forward and read this because it's just excellent. Okay, there are some things which did bug me in terms of writing, so I reduced 1 star alone from my rating. I rated this one 4 stars, but definitely it was a wonderful book. And if any of you guys have already read the sequel, which is The Boy with a Broken Heart, please let me know how it is, because I definitely want to read the second book and end this duology, because this one was a really surprising as well as wonderful read. The next book which I read is a children's book, and it is George's Marvelous Medicine by Roald Dahl. It's been a really long time since I read any of Roald Dahl's books, and I've been having this on my shelf for nearly 4 months now, and it was finally the time to pick it up, because after I finished The Boy Who Loved, I was not at all finding any book that gripped me throughout while I was reading. So for nearly over a week to 10 days, I was in a reading slump in the mid of the month, and I think this was after the 15th of May when I started reading this book. I just sat down one evening and read it fully. Okay, it's just a typical children's book with a lot of beautiful illustrations. Okay, I just liked the simplistic way in which all the illustrations are given in this one. So if you do have kids lying around in home, you can definitely read Roald Dahl books to them or make them read them, because it's perfect for kids, and the words that Roald Dahl uses and invents in order to make it even more engaging for kids are just beautiful, hilarious, funny, and very engaging rather than anything. Even if you're an adult, I'm sure that reading these books will calm your mind and put you back into that reading space if you are out of it. So definitely try this one. I rated this one 4 stars. The next one which I finished is yet another very famous book, and I'm really glad that I read it at last, and it is A Man Called Ove by Frederik Backman. This is the first book of the author, and it is also a literary fiction. I have a dedicated review for this one also. Please do check it out, because it is a really cozy book, and I said that don't read The Boy Who Loved during this time, but read it later on, right? This is definitely one book which you have to read during this time, because it is insanely cozy. Okay, it is such a heartwarming book that after you finish reading it, you will feel so happy. Okay, while closing the book, it will give you an immense amount of pleasure and comfort, because it is such a beautiful story. It's also totally focused on this single character, Ove, who's just an old man. Okay, A Man Called Ove, that's the title of the book. The premise of the book is nothing. Okay, we just get to learn about the life of this very old grumpy man called Ove, and we just fall in love with him in some way or the other, accepting all his flaws, accepting all his good qualities, and how he gives up on some thoughts which he has had due to his aging. And it's just a very beautifully written book. Okay, this is definitely my first Frederik Backman book, and I definitely do see myself reading more of his books in the future. It was an awesome book. Please do go and read it right now if you can, because it's just awesome, and I rated it 5 stars. The next one is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Dark Artifices series, and boy oh boy, I enjoyed this throughout. Okay, I'm filming this video on the last day of May, and I filmed the review and discussion for Lady Midnight just the day before, that is on Sunday. I've already edited and uploaded the video. You'll be getting it probably on Thursday or Saturday. I should say this was a wonderful installment in this entire series, okay, and also the best first book that I've read so far in all the Shadowhunter series put together. I enjoyed it the whole time. Okay, it's also the biggest first book in any of the series that Cassie has written so far, and it was so smooth. Okay, very smooth. I did not feel like I'm reading a 600-700 page book the whole time at all, because it was very engaging. Okay, I've told many times that while I get into these books, I just go in for the characters and I don't give a damn about the plot at all. But in this series, both the plot as well as the characters are extremely engaging, and I just loved it a lot. Okay, when people were continuously saying to me that this is her best series that she's ever written, I did not believe them that much, because I was loving the Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices a lot. But in this one, I just love the whole thing, and I have a number of questions that need to be answered in the next 2 books in the series, so I'm definitely waiting to pick up the next 2 books also. So please do check out my review when it is out, because this was a book which just swept me off my feet, and it was just so amazing. I rated this one also 5 stars. Moving on to the audiobooks, the first audiobook which I finished is Gateways to Now by Eckhart Tolle. Now this is like a companion book for The Power of Now, which was also by the same author. I should say I expected a lot from this book, and it did disappoint me a lot, because my expectations were so high after having read The Power of Now, because it had a lot of things which I could actually implement in my daily life and make it better. I also found many things from that which I implemented, and it legitimately made things better for me. I expected some things like that from this one also, but it did not meet all those expectations or demands which I had. Also, the audiobook that was available for this one in Storytel, it is just a 2 hour long audiobook, but of the 2 hours, 1 hour is just some background music going on. The first 1 hour is the complete book and the next 1 hour is just music. That annoyed me a lot and also felt kind of more repetitive from just the power of now itself, so it did disappoint me and I rated this one 3 stars only. The next one is The Greatest Secret by Rhonda Byrne. This is like a follow for The Secret, which is one of the most famous books in the planet if you ask me, and it is also very much worth it. It explains the law of attraction with various examples and actual people to whom the law of attraction has worked and what all they've got out of it. It was definitely a very eye-opening book for me because I changed my thought process a lot more after reading The Secret and many books which I read due to The Secret afterwards. In that way, if you ask me, this was not as great as The Secret. It is a really good book, but again, it did not meet all the expectations that I had because The Secret is like a pioneer book for me when it comes to the law of attraction, but this one, it was not so great. It was good, it was not great. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're planning to read this book, please do go and read it because it has a lot of new concepts that the author talks about also, but they are not as much strong and delivering a punch as they were in Secret. It was really good. If you're planning to listen to an audiobook which is very motivational in the morning, please do go and try this out because I listened to it over 3 to 4 days in the morning and it was just awesome and it did help me to keep my spirits high and positive throughout the day. I rated this one also 3 stars. The last audiobook which I finished is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. Now, this was a really funny graphic novel, okay? First, I was very astonished to find a graphic novel available as an audiobook on Storytel. I've been wanting to read this graphic novel for quite a while, but every time I wanted to buy it, the rate has always been high on Amazon, so I have not at all bought it. Suddenly, what happened, while I added some new books on my bookshelf in the Storytel app, I found this one and I instantly wanted to read it. It was also a really short audiobook, just 2.5 hours, I think. It was so funny, so enjoyable. If you're anywhere over 12 or 13 years in age, even if you're an adult, I'm sure you can just listen to this and enjoy. The narrators of this book are wonderful, okay? They just bring out the characters to perfect life and the modulations and the accents that they use for different situations in which the characters act and do stuff. It was very interesting, okay? It's kind of a fantasy sci-fi kind of thing, but it does not have magic or massive technology or anything. It's just like a very good action-packed book which also keeps you guessing continuously. So it was very much fun. I rated this one 4 stars. So those were all the books and I wanted to include this in this wrap up because I thought many people will be able to relate with this, and it is the Friends reunion, okay? I and my brother watched it together on the 28th of May, the day after when it was released. Actually, we were completely avoiding social media everywhere, especially Instagram and YouTube, because there were continuously spoilers coming on and we did not want to get spoiled at all. And also I had time on the 27th itself, but my brother had a lot of work, so we had to wait for an entire day and then we watched it on Friday. It was awesome, worth the whole time, okay? It just made me feel so happy, sad, nostalgic, everything put together. I have been watching Friends for the past 4 years, okay? In the past 4 years, I'm sure I've watched all the 10 seasons at least 5 to 6 times, and each and every minute and second I've dedicated watching that series has been completely worth it, and I'll definitely not at all regret it anytime in the present or in the future also. It was such an awesome series and I do hope many of you guys have watched Friends also. If not, please do go and watch it because it'll just make your life better in some way or the other. Trust me, just go forward and watch it because it is awesome, and the Friends reunion was also as good as we expected it to be and I just loved it. So yes guys, that's all for today and those were all the books which I read in May. Don't forget to leave your May wrap up in the comments below because I'd like to know the books that you read. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel because I publish new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.